A racist passenger judges a black pilot by doubting his abilities. But when Captain Ron reveals his heroic family legacy and unmatched skills, he is faced with a shocking twist that changes everything. Witness how dignity and professionalism rise above prejudice in this powerful story of courage and respect. It was a brilliant story. In the morning at the bustling airport, families rushed to their gates, business people chatted on their phones, and flight attendants moved with practiced precision. Among the passengers boarding Flight 172 was an elegantly dressed woman named Mrs. Day. She marched down the aisle with her nose in the air and grumbling her breath. Mrs. Day prided herself on being punctual and important, and today was no exception. She had a big meeting at Los Angeles that she was convinced would change her life. But as she settled into her seat, her mood soaring through the cockpit door, she saw a flasher from Captain Ron to a tall, confident black man narrowed his eyes and turned to the man sitting next to him. "Can you believe it?" A black pilot whispered. "What's next? Cat's flying plans." The man frowned. "I don't see the problem," he replied, turning back to his book. Mrs. Day scoffed. "The only reason his flying is because of this liberal's agenda. He's probably not even qualified." As passengers settled in, an announcement came over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Ron speaking. Due to a storm over the Rockies, we're adjusting our flight plan. Thank you for your patience." Mrs. D muttered under her breath, adjusting the flight plan, more like she was wasting her time because she doesn't know what she's doing. A flight attendant approached her with a warm smile. "Miss, there's something can I help you with?" "Yes." Mrs. Day grew angry. "Can you tell me why the airline hired a basketball player instead of a current pilot? This is unacceptable." The flight attendant's smile faltered. "Captain Ron is one of our most experienced pilots. He has been flying for years and has an impeccable record." Mrs. Day scoffed. "I saw her tattoo. Hune is probably in some gang." The passengers around him began to whisper, clearly uncomfortable with his comments, but Mrs. Day didn't care. This is the problem with the world today. People care more about being nice than being honest. Moments later, Captain Ron himself emerged from the cockpit and approached Mrs. Day with a calm and firm demeanor. "I hear you have concerns about me flying this plane." "You bet you do," Mrs. Day retorted. "I don't trust someone like you with my life, Captain." Ron raised an eyebrow. "Someone like me is saying this because I'm black." Mrs. Day crossed her arms. "This isn't about race, it's about qualifications. You only got this job because of a diversity program." The passengers gasped and a heavy silence fell over the cockpit. Captain Ron remained composed. "Let me tell you a little about myself. My grandfather flew over 90 combat missions as part of the Tuskegee Airmen in World War II. My father served in the Navy and I spent 25 years as a pilot in the Air Force flying. It's not just my job, it's my passion." Mrs. Day rolled her eyes. "I sure am the Queen of England," Captain Ron said firmly. "You may not believe me, but I have been voted the best pilot on this airline for 5 years. Straight up, my job is to keep everyone on this plane safe, no matter what." And turning to the flight attendant, he added, "Please make arrangements for Mrs. Day to take a different flight. We will find her a new pilot." Mrs. D's face turned red. "You can't do that. I have an important meeting." The captain's expression didn't waver. "I'm sure another pilot will get you there safely, but on this plane we treat everyone with respect." 2 security officers escorted Mrs. Day off the plane. One of the passengers stood up and started clapping. Soon the entire cabin erupted into applause. Captain Ron walked back into the cockpit. The cabin and the plane took off without a hitch. The rest of the flight was smooth and peaceful, and the passengers felt safer knowing they were in the hands of a skilled and dignified pilot. Meanwhile, Ms. Day's speech had been broadcast by another passenger and quickly went viral. When she arrived at her new gate, she learned that her meeting had been cancelled. The company she was hoping to impress had seen the video and decided it did not represent their values. As Flight 172 took to the skies, Captain Ron once again proved that dignity, skill, and professionalism trump prejudice every time. If you were inspired by this story, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and click subscribe to join our channel for more powerful stories like this one. Your support helps us create more content you'll love, so don't miss out.